Today we're going to be going over bodybuilding genetic tier list. Now, a lot of people think if you just go to the gym and show up, you're going to have an Arnold Schwarzenegger physique by year 5. Now, that is completely far from the truth. Even though pretty much everybody, unless you have a genetic problem, you can build a very aesthetic, good-looking physique. But some of what we're going to cover today will show just how aesthetic you can build that physique. So starting number 1 would be small chest insertions. These are going to be honest, you're cooked. Someone like myself who has small chest insertions, you will never have that big look in a shirt. Now, without a shirt, it honestly doesn't look too bad. Now, you can see here Tristan Lee, he's like 4 or 5% body fat and his chest looks like a 12-year-old boy. But you still can look pretty decent with a small chest if you build the shoulders and arms around it. I mean, when you're in a t-shirt, all you see is your arms anyways, but it will make you look smaller. Now, long biceps. I'm going to say this doesn't really matter. A lot of good physiques look good with long biceps. Long biceps are really peak when you're wearing a shirt and not flexing. They look very thick and muscular. So really, it doesn't matter if you have long bicep genetics. I would even say that could be a good thing. Being short. Now, it kind of depends how short you are. If you're like a man and you're under 5'4", it's going to be unfortunate. But you can also pack on a lot of muscle really fast and look really full. A lot of people, you can kind of angle max. If you're about like 5'6", you could be 155 pounds of muscle and you can look like a fitness influencer, especially if you play the angles right. So I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say it's cooked. It's not over. You could still build a really nice physique. Being tall is going to be a disadvantage. Now, being tall will make you look better long term. The only problem is it will take you substantially longer to put on muscle onto your long frame. So you will look better in the long run, though. Small calves doesn't really matter. No one really cares. And small calves are good for athletics anyways. You'll see basketball players, sprinters, a lot of them have super high calf insertions and they're small, just tendon and fibrous. Bad posture, I'm going to put it in disadvantage because it's pretty easy to fix for most people. It would be strengthening your spinal erectors, going out for more walks, sitting down less. You will look worse when you have bad posture. But if you fix it, it is a pretty easy fix. Again, small butt, this is more, I'm going to put it here just because cooked, it makes you look overall weaker. And this is kind of more of a female gaze muscle, as most women, even if they won't say it to you, they love a man with a strong bum. But most men don't really care. And if you're doing squats and you're hitting legs, you're not skipping it, you're going to have a reasonably strong gluteus. 4-pack. Kind of it's over. Right? Like you can be Olympia level jacked, shredded, take as much tren and steroids as you want. But if you have a 4-pack, you're just not going to have that aesthetic long look in your torso. And there's really nothing you can do about it. Say 6-pack, doesn't matter. That's a good thing. I mean, obviously, you could, 8-pack would be what you would want. But most people will carry a 6-pack. 80% of people will not have a 4-pack or an 8-pack. Most people will sit in 6-pack. So is kind of the standard that will make you look the most aesthetic. It's the most what people are used to. Rib flare. I'm going to say disadvantage. Now, in the picture, it looks a lot worse than it actually is. Truly, your rib flare, you can fix it with vacuuming, but if you have a strong, lean physique, it's not going to make as big of a difference as you think unless it is like super bad, then we would go to medical intervention. But I'm going to put it in disadvantage because most people do not have it severely, if at all. Okay, narrow clavicles. Put this in medical intervention, although it's really not worth getting surgery for this, I would just say it's over. Now, the one thing you can do is spam lateral raises and build the width of your back. This will help a little bit, but to be honest, it's kind of over. Like, it sucks. You know what? I'm gonna put it's worse than a 4-pack by far. All right. Big but strong doesn't really matter. Most likely, if you're big and strong, you have great genetics for building muscle. You could probably pack on a lot. You're going to gain a lot of weight. Probably, right? So, honestly, if you just cut, you're going to look jacked. Most likely, you're going to have tons of muscle built under the fat. Saggy triceps. Now, this is more for women. To be honest, I'm going to put this in medical intervention. Most dudes don't have this. And if you do, it's most likely because you've lost over 100 pounds of fat. It's most likely just going to be saggy skin, which is truly, there's nothing you can do about this except surgical medical intervention to take back the skin. High lat insertions. I'm going to put this in disadvantage. From my experience, it doesn't really matter that much because you can still look really wide. It's going to make your V-taper look a little bit less impressive. Now, if you're going to you want to be a pro bodybuilder, you could even say it's cooked or it's over. But for the most gym goers, it would just be a slight disadvantage. It's not a huge deal. Short torso, kind of cooked. I have a short torso. I know what it looks like. Your arms and legs look way too long. The torso looks too short. It's a bit of a weird build, almost kind of like a monkey physique. Like your torso looks too short. Now, I'm going to say it's cooked. It's not over. It's definitely not as bad as having narrow clavicles. Because a short torso, you could still build a nice physique. You're just going to be a little limb heavy. You're going to look like your arm and leg dominant. Wide waist. And this is going to be cooked. If you want to be truly aesthetic, now most people think they have a wide waist, but really they don't. They're just fat. If you can get down to 10% or below body fat and still have a wide waist, you might be able to play the card of saying, I have a wide waist. But truly most people don't. They just have never been lean enough to see what it actually looks like. Ways you can, a lot of people will say like cardio intensive activities like runners, you'll see this a lot. They will have wider waists. Their obliques are generally more trained from controlled heavy breathing. The thing, you could try to prevent this by not doing a lot of oblique exercises as you're going to hit that in a lot of compound movements anyways, but it would be cooked. Bad metabolism, this is kind of cope. It doesn't really matter. Even if you have a bad metabolism, that number of calories a day you're losing out on is only like 1 to 200 calories. So someone with the same age, gender, muscle mass, they're going to burn about 200 calories less a day just sitting there, which it kind of sucks, but it's really not that big of a deal. And most people don't even have a bad metabolism. They're just lazy and don't do anything. This could even help if you want to be a hard gainer, but you're not going to be a hard gainer if you have bad metabolism, but it can help you put on muscle, and it doesn't really matter. You just got to eat less. You just got to put the fork down. Small wrists, I'm actually going to say it's kind of over. Now, obviously, this depends how thin your wrist is, but there are many studies out there that suggest the size of your wrist directly correlates to how much muscle you can put on naturally. Now, obviously, you can always hop on performance-enhancing steroids, but small wrists kind of tell the story of your genetics. They will tell everything. Small wrists means probably going to be better at endurance activities, and you're not going to put on muscle as easy. Fast metabolism. Now, this can be, I'm going to say disadvantage, even though, again, it doesn't really matter, but this can make it harder to put on muscle. You kind of have to be a hard gainer. You're going to have to go in a bulk. You'll see these in like teenage boys who eat like animals, but they're still like 140 pounds. This will slow down as you get older, but I would say it's a disadvantage just because you have to just spend so much more money on food than other people. Low test. This is going to be medical intervention. If you have low test, the first thing you try to get your sleep up, your nutrition, eat whole foods. But if after at a point it's so low, like you're under 400 nanograms per deciliter, long term, that can definitely affect you in your sex life, your muscle building, just everything about your life will improve with higher testosterone as a man. So I'm going to say that's definitely medical intervention. Short biceps, I'm going to say disadvantage. They're not too bad. For some people even like the look of the peak. Personally, I like long biceps better. But short biceps will look more impressive with a short amount of training. You'll even see people like Arnold Schwarzenegger with short biceps. Like he was known for his chest, not his biceps, but you can build a godlike physique with short biceps. It's just going to look different. It's not going to look as full when you're relaxed. That's the key difference of the short and the long biceps. Is the short biceps arguably can look better flexed, but will look much, much worse when you're relaxed. Anyways, thank you for watching. That's all.